So I'm going to go ahead and start because I want to be faithful with people's time. And I know other people, this life is crazy for people. So I want to make sure everybody is, we're good on time. We're probably going to go hopefully 30 minutes, maybe a little bit over, but we're going to be careful with your time. We're not going to try to do that. I do want to say that I have no affiliation with Zoom whatsoever. I just need to point that out. That I will not be sending you to a link where I get any money or recognition or anything. I'm not a Zoom employee. You always have to say those things when you're doing these things, just so that people know that there's no shadiness, kind of going on with this. But I do it because I just want to serve you guys. And for those that may not be familiar with me, my name is Paul Turner, and I am the director of Disciple Project Ministries, and I focus on discipleship. And if you watch the YouTube channel, you know my heart and passion for you guys, that I just want to see you do well. I want to see you be equipped, and build successful youth ministries so you can make lifetime disciples. That's just the whole deal for me. Also, for those of you that are in here, Adam and Cheyenne, I know Ethan and Heather have used it, but Amanda and Cheyenne, quick vote here. How many of you have you used Zoom at all? You have not. Okay, so then we have rookies here. That's fantastic. I love it. Just show you the pricing plans, just because it's super easy. You guys can see the screen. Is that correct? So I want to make sure you guys can see it. Okay, so there's a free, right, which is host up to 100 participants. Listen, if you have 100 that can get in there, that's fantastic. That may get a little crazy, but you can see that based on just looking and say, okay, you get different, but this is the free is so basic, but I'm a $14.99 guy because I use it with my coaching. A lot of times meeting duration is 24 hours. If you go longer than 40 minutes, which it depends on youth ministries. Some want to go longer than 40 minutes. Some, go an hour, whatever that is. So if you want to have longer durations, you can go ahead and do the $14.99 and you get 24 hours. Okay. So that's just wanted to show you the pricing there. And I'm going to stop sharing for a minute and then go back here. Just, by the way, not only can you use this for your students, you can also use this for your parents. Don't just use it maybe for students. Say, hey, look, parents would love to have a meeting with you to talk about future plans. This is a great way to participate and get parents involved and not just students. So really think broadly as far as how you want to use this as a ministry tool amongst your family, but amongst your students. But let me go ahead and go to the settings real quick. I'm going to show you my settings. So I'm going to share again here because I want to show you how I set up this meeting, just so you know some of the tools that are available. So let me go ahead and share my desktop again. And I'm going to scoot you guys over here. So when I set up a meeting, like this meeting here, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to show you a meeting. So I'm going to schedule a meeting just to show you how easy it is. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule a meeting. And you say, look, you can this is my youth group, okay? You say, this is whatever your group name is, whatever your meeting name is, any of those things. You say, hey, I'm going to schedule it for the 24th. You can put the time is there. You can enter your description. You could put, hey, tonight we're going to be focusing on the book of James, whatever that is. You can put that in the description to kind of let people know what you're doing. You can, if this is a recurring meeting, hopefully this will not be a recurring meeting necessarily, for the super extended future, but at least temporarily, you're going to have maybe 2 or 3 weeks of online meetings. So if you want to have a recurring meeting, you can do that. Registration. Now I did registration this. Yes, please, Heather.
The benefit of doing a recurring meeting, if you plan to meet for like the next month or 6 weeks or whatever, is it's the same link each time. So they only have to click one link.
Absolutely. Very good point. Thank you, Heather. I did registration for this because I wanted to make sure that I knew who was coming. But normally I would not ask students to register or anything like that. You can do that for staff. If you have other adults that help you, things like that, you could do a registration with them. They give you a meeting ID was automatically generated. You can do a meeting password. Once again, normally would not necessarily do that with students. Just because you're giving it to your students. You're not necessarily giving it to the whole world. So your students will only be getting that link so they can click on it. Video. You can put the host on, like example, when I come on, my video is automatically on. And so you probably want to do that for your students as well. Participants, you can have those on as well. So when they come on, you can see them immediately come on. The audio can be telephone, computer audio. Most of them can either do one or the other. I mean, they can do their phone. By the way, this is an app. So you can encourage your students to have this on their phone, and they can do it right off their phone. They don't have to have a laptop. They don't have to any of those things. They can do it right off their phone, okay? And then you have meeting options, right? You can enable join before host. Once again, I don't know if I recommend that with students. You could. They'll get in there and it'll be fun. You can just kind of pop in there at some time and catch them all chattering about something. Who knows, right? You can mute participants on entry, which is probably a good idea. So that it's a little bit quiet. Now, eventually they're going to figure out that they can unmute themselves, but you can also fix that as well where they can't do that. You can enable waiting room. Only authenticated users can join. Breakout room assignments, which we're going to test here in just a minute. And then record meeting automatically. Which, by the way, I would encourage that because this is be like a little time capsule of your time together. Some of you that would never have used Zoom had not there been a pandemic, had there not been something going on. And so I would encourage you to really record these things and say, wow, you know what, and use them in later videos, or show them, if you're good at editing, show them later on as little clips and say, hey, here's what we did. We were strong. We went through it. We kept meeting. We didn't give up. All those kind of good things. So, and then I would just save that meeting. And when it saves, it will give you this join URL right here. And then all you have to do is copy the invitation, which is a little bit lengthy. It gives little things about the phone number you can call into, things like that. If I hit that, that's what you see there. You see all those kinds of things. Now, you're welcome to do that, or you can just copy and paste and grab that and hit the copy button, and then you're good to go. And you send it out via email. You can send it to parents and say, hey, listen, parents, we don't want you in the meeting necessarily, but we would like you to let your kids know. Or you can send it, direct message on Instagram or whatever, or text your kids, however systems that you have on that, you can be able to do that. Okay. And then you have all these other options, right? They have all the options that you did in the settings. And then you can save this meeting as a template and say that's the way it's going to be all the time for these next few meetings. And then when it's time, you can go ahead, and when it's time to do it, you just start the meeting. You get there 5 minutes early, and then you can watch kids come in, right? And so that is just the general setup there. So let me go ahead and go then to, and there's in the settings, I'll just show you this briefly, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff, the real tools here. But in settings, there's lots of, there's lots of things you can use in there. There's the, join before host. Do you want your kids in there before you're in there? You can decide that, right? So just go ahead and hit the button there if that's what you want, and your settings have been updated. You can, require a password, which I did for this particular meeting. You can, let's see, mute participants on entry, upcoming meeting reminders. You can do that to your desktop where it'll remind you of those things. Private chat. Allow meetings to participants to send one-to-one messages to each other during the chat. Now, you may want to not have that for your Zoom meeting. You may not want kids chatting with one another during the meeting, even though they're texting one another while they're in the meeting. So it's just up to you how you want to offer the private chat, which we'll show you here in just a second. You can do file transfers in your section as well. So if you want to allow that, and you say, guys, today I want to upload your devotions for the week, right? So in your meeting, you say, I'm going to give you 5 days worth of devotions, and you can literally upload the file in the participants there and add a file to that. You can add co-hosts. So if you want somebody else to have controls, if you have an assistant, assistant youth director, or your husband or your wife, or anything, those things, you can add them as a co-host and let them have control over things as well. You can do polling. Yes, if you want to do polls, put that on there. Screen sharing, who can share. There was an incident I believe I saw it somewhere, where you may not want everybody to be able to share their desktop. There was an incident I saw and Heather, maybe you saw this, I don't know, but where this kid got on and shared pornography from his desktop and shared it with the group. That's bad. That's not great. So if you trust everybody, that's one thing. But if you don't want to do that, you can go ahead. Who can share? host only, okay? So then nobody else can share from their desktop, okay? You can do, there's a whiteboard, we're gonna talk about that, and all those things. So you have lots of options in there that you can have. So let me go ahead and just stop sharing there, and we'll get back to where we were. And your lovely husband there, by the way, who just, I noticed you got to put your name there, but he doesn't get to put his name there. Why is that? Not even a shout out, nothing. Okay, just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, so if you guys can see all that, let me just show you a few options here. Just like you're doing it with me here, I can, under mute, or I can go into settings, right? So I can go to any of these settings. If you have right now I'm using the built-in internet speakers, or you can put in, if you have a microphone you want to use. So for later on, if you want to use the recordings, you can do that, okay? Same thing for video. So I'm using my FaceTime HD camera on my computer. You can use your phone, all those things. That choose a virtual background. I think you have to have, my computer is not updated enough. You have to have basically a new computer to be able to do that. Invite people. So let's say you're in session and you say, I want to invite people right now. I want to do it through, maybe you have Messenger on there or something like that. You want to copy your URL. It says the invitation URL has been copied. So then you can go there and you can actually, if you don't see a kid that's in your meeting and you say, hey, listen, we're in meeting right now. Here's the link. Come join us. So if you want to do it that way, you can. And then it gives them a little pass, or you can do it through email, which is you set up your default email, or your Gmail or your Yahoo. Okay. So in the managed participants, it'll show you your whole list of people that you have there. So I can mute you if I want to, which I won't. Now Ethan, I mute quite often because he's one of my coaching guys. And so sometimes when he has his staff in here, he's nodding because I will mute him so his people can talk. Because sometimes the youth pastor talks and nobody else is talking. So I have to mute him. And so I can unmute Amanda or Cheyenne or Heather, which I will not do any of those things. But that's just to say this, if somebody's getting out of line or whatever you want to do, say, hey, you're muted, take a break. You're in timeout for a little while, okay? I'm going to do something now like for like this, like I said, you can do upload. You can be able, like I said, upload your files, all that kind of good stuff. Let me go to something really quick, polling. I'm just going to add a question here. And I'm going to say, and you guys will all get this, and you can use this with your kids. Say, I want to poll you guys on something, and you don't want to make it, awkward for anybody. So you say, okay, so this is going to be, the question will be, and it'll be yes or no. Okay. And so I have saved it. I have launched it. And now you should see a poll in progress. Do you guys see the poll? Okay. So it's real quick. So I'm asking you guys, is it okay if I record this and then put it up on YouTube for other people to view? Is that okay? Please go ahead and vote. If any of you votes no, I'm not going to, kick you out of the room or anything like that, but I want to make sure everybody's on board. Okay. So all of you said yes, it's okay. So you can use polls with your kids without having to call anybody out, or it could be a question. It could be a Bible question. It could be anything. It could be multiple choice. There's 10 answers there maybe. You can use that for whatever you want, okay? So I will go ahead and get out of that. So you can do polling, and then like I did with the sharing, you can also do something. You can share your desktop. So example, if you use slides, and you say, well, I want to keep using slides, you can show your slides. And just kind of go through and do your slides that way and do your teaching that way. And that way it's right in front of you. Your teaching is right in front of you, and you can keep using your slides because you're sharing your desktop. So you can do that if you like. So there's no, with that. So let me go ahead and get out of that just to show you a little bit about what you can do. And let me go ahead and stop sharing there. So like I said, you can show videos, you can watch a YouTube video together. You can, as part of your discussion time, whatever you want to use. If it's on your desktop, it's an app, it's anything you can use that, okay? And let's see, one participant can share at a time because you don't want other people, everybody sharing at the same time, okay? Also, I'm going to do something interesting here. If you have a group, maybe you have, even if you have, it doesn't matter whether you have a large group or a small group. If you have 10 to 12 people, now we only have a few in here. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is I'm going to do this real quick. You can create breakout rooms. So if you have 10 kids in there, it's going to do where you are matched up one-on-one, I believe, or you can set it for 2 or 3 or however you want to set it in your settings. But I'm going to just, for 30 seconds, I need you to find out something interesting about the person that you're matched with, okay? And which means you're going to have to unmute and talk to that person, which is what you would exactly say to your kids, okay? That you're about to go into a session and talk to somebody, and you're going to find out something. How about this? Just find out where they're from. Just find out where they're from, and then we'll come back. So you got 30 seconds to talk to somebody. Okay, so here we go. Breakout rooms. Okay, and go. And everybody is back. Now I need you to unmute again. Tell me who you met and where are they from. Amanda, who did you meet?
We met Ethan.
You met Ethan, and where's he from?
Outer Banks, North Carolina.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. But, and so Ethan, who did you meet? You met Amanda. Where are they from?
They're from Dixon, Illinois.
All right. Very cool. So do you guys see the really cool benefit of being able to break up into small groups? You can define, and there's a button there. You can call everybody back. You can stop the small groups. Usually you send them a message. You have 60 seconds, and then you can go from there. And you can do all kinds of stuff in there. You can get them to plot together. Like if they're in a team, right? Come back and give your answer, or make a rap, right? Come back and create a rap or something and do that for everybody. So when you, just like you do in a regular youth meeting, you say, we're going to break up into small groups, and then you're going to come back and do something. Okay. So I think that's one of the best features. And I find that so many people don't talk. I mean, I've watched Zoom videos, things like that, and they really don't talk about those as much. But also in the more section, you can share live on Facebook or live on YouTube. If you have a YouTube channel, you can do it there. And then all kinds of things from there. So any questions, because I'm going to go ahead and let both Ethan and Heather share their Zoom experiences and give you guys some great examples. So any questions up to this point?
No.
Amanda, you look like you have a question.
I guess I'm just not sure. Do you have something that we don't have that allowed you to create the small groups and things like that?
Yeah, because I'm hosting the meeting.
Okay.
Yep. If you're the host, you get to decide that. And you can preset those. You can preset and create your groups and say, hey, we got group 1 is going to be team red, team blue, team yellow. So yeah.
I'm pretty sure you have to have the paid version though in order to do breakout rooms.
Correct. Yes, you have to have the $14.99 a month, which is nothing, to pay these days to have that option. Absolutely. Any other questions, Amanda?
No, I don't
Anything?
think so.
No, you're good. Okay.
Yep.
Amanda, what is your husband's name? I'm getting concerned for him. He's very quiet over there, and I just need to know what is your husband's name?
My name's Matt.
Hey, Matt. So make sure you're here, buddy. You're included, and your name's not up there, but
now.
Okay, your name's not up there. I just need to know who you are. Okay, now we know. Okay, so let's go with Heather. Heather, do you want to go ahead and share first, or do you want Ethan to share first?
I would love to share first.
Okay, so Heather's going to share first, and she wrote a great article, which, by the way, is I'm going to drop here into the chat area here in just a minute. But let her go ahead and share with you guys about what she does with her Zoom group. She had a fantastic Zoom meeting with them, and so Heather, share it with us.
Yeah, I'd love to. So since I didn't get to introduce myself, my name is Heather. I actually live in Indianapolis, and I am the director of student ministries at a large United Methodist church. So we used Zoom on Sunday with both of our middle school groups and our high school groups. So our middle school group, 5th through 8th grade, had 100 participants, and our high school group, 9th through 12th grade, had 45 participants. So I was able to see how Zoom was utilized in both a medium-sized group and then also a very, very large-sized group. It was so big we have to upgrade our subscription, which I guess is a good problem to have.
Yes.
So the way that I structured our time together, this was our weekly youth group and small groups breakout. So I basically created an order of worship, the same that I might any other week. And then that helped me organize what I did throughout the meeting. So I wanted to organize it the same way I would any other youth meeting. So we use the paid feature. And the reason why is because it allows you to put students into breakout groups. In the article that Paul shared with you guys, I have an awesome article by my friend Josh Macklemore with Stuff You Can Use, and he breaks down exactly how to use Zoom, which of course Paul already did, but it's a good article. A half hour beforehand, I used our church database software to text the link to all of our parents, and I gave them instructions for helping their kids set up Zoom. This is particularly like important, especially with like our 5th and 6th graders, and honestly all of our kids, because not everyone has a screen, so they're probably using their parents' screen, and then also giving them instructions. I definitely learned that with a larger group, having them put their full first name, their last initial, and then their grade was really helpful, because we put them into their small groups. And it was very hard to organize 100 people when some of their name was like iPhone or like RAR or I love eggs. Like, it was very difficult. So that was really, really good. I started the Zoom meeting maybe 15 minutes before scheduled, and I went ahead and downloaded a countdown video from YouTube and had that playing as students logged on. That way it gave students time to like get acquainted. People were in the chat. I had like a worship playlist playing of like their favorite upbeat songs. Kids were fist bumping. It was a lot of fun. And so that was really cool, because when we got down to a minute, I unmuted everybody and they started countdowning really loud, which with 100 people is pure chaos and kind of made my internet pause for a minute, but it was fun. And then I did wait a few minutes after start time for everyone to come on, because I know that there are last minute people who will log on exactly at 11, and I wanted to give them a minute so that they didn't miss anything. And as Paul said, I did make it so that participants could not unmute themselves, that only I could unmute them. I have a friend who the other day did a Zoom youth group with her youth group, and she had a kid meow during the entire prayer. And because of my work with middle schoolers, I knew that I could not have that happen. So I made sure to make it so that only I could unmute them. And then I also made sure that they could not screen share, because I saw an article about Zoom bombers and people essentially joining your public Zoom meetings and then dropping pornography in there. And I knew that I did not want that to happen. So all that to say, the actual meeting, we started off with a game. And last week I played a scavenger hunt, and I had them get like some simple things like toilet paper and hand sanitizer just because of COVID-19. But the last thing I had them go get was a Bible, which was very strategic. And when they found their item, I had them use the raise your hand feature, which not all kids could find, to be honest. But I wrote down their names, and I'm sending them a prize, just like a sticker. Then this coming up Sunday, we're playing charades, and you can use a feature where you privately message one person. So basically what I'll do is I'll privately message one person, whatever they're acting out, and they'll try to act it out, and everyone else can put in the comments what they think it is. So I'm not going to unmute everybody, because that's 100 people to unmute. If you have a smaller group, you could unmute, and the first person to say it could win. We had announcements in prayer, which in my article, you can see what we used. And then for teaching, I decided to use a video curriculum. The reason that I decided to do that was, first of all, I grew very weary of trying to create my own teaching videos. Like, I am not a tech guru. I love to teach. I love to preach. My shirt says "Girl Preach," but I did not want to waste my time and energy doing that. I wanted to use a curriculum. So in middle school, we're using the free series that's out right now by Grow. And then in high school, we did the Easter series, because our high school students utilize Grow. And for both groups, it worked really well. And then while they were watching the series, because I put my screen share, I was actually able to use that 10 to 15 minutes to organize them into breakout groups, which was like a mad dash trying to organize 100 people into their small groups, but it kind of worked. And that was really helpful for me, that I was able to show them the video and then also organize them into groups, and they never knew what I was doing. Again, I really recommend, if you have a larger group, having them put their grade or their small group leader's name, because that was kind of chaos. And then right before small groups, I unmuted everybody. so that they could talk freely in their small groups. I have read about giving my small group leaders host privileges because then they can unmute and mute their small group themselves. But I did not do that last week, but I'm investigating it for this week. It's a little difficult because they have to have a profile in order for them to receive my host request, but I'm investigating. So I'm not perfect at this, but I certainly learned a lot of things my first week, like having them write their full name. And man, we had so many kids who did not get put into the right breakout group. So I've just learned a lot. And I definitely learned with this big game that I played with 100 people, some of the right things to do and some of the wrong things to do. I had a kid cry because he couldn't find the raise your hand function. Middle school's rough, man. But it ended up being a really great day.
Well, by the way, where is that raise your hand feature? I'm interested myself. I don't think I know where it is.
So I think when you go into chat, where is chat at again? So you have to click participants, and then you see raise your hand. You see it like in the bottom left corner of that white area.
Okay. Does everybody see it? Okay. So everybody kids can say, hey, I have a question or something like that. Okay.
And it's supposed to order them in the order that they raise their hand, is what I understand.
Right. Then you can call them in order. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Excellent. Fantastic. All right. Heather, anything else? Any other little tips?
I think that's all I got. I mean, a lot of it is just trying to cater it towards your group. So I loved the breakout room feature. I thought that was really great. Especially for our kids, we're a very small group spaced ministry. So being able to put them with their people was the best part of the day. And honestly, I wouldn't worry about having the best anything else. I would really be concerned about connection and community over the actual content you're putting out. I became very overwhelmed and grieved by that last week when I realized that I was creating all of these different teaching videos for our groups, one for the preteen group and one for confirmation and one for 8th grade, which is usually what we do on a Sunday. But I really had this come to Jesus moment last week where I was what am I doing? With this COVID-19 stuff, I should not be worried about teaching the right stuff. I should be really concerned about making sure kids are connected to their friends and don't feel alone in this season.
I should unmute myself when I say things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the whole point, right? Heather just nailed it right there by saying, look, not only during I think everybody might agree with this, that a lot of churches got caught flat-footed with this. People who did not embrace technology, even youth groups and youth ministry didn't stream, didn't do anything. Now they're all playing catch up. But really what this should be, I mean, in reality, is this may become some new norms. Yes, you're going to be back together, but this is going to show a new reality where you're able to get with kids maybe on nights or things like that where they don't have to leave home or they don't have to do certain things. And you're able to use this as a tool going forward, not just as a stopgap for meeting with your kids now, but building that community with your kids as you're going towards that. The end goal, hopefully you will all come back together. You'll have your youth meetings. But this then becomes another tool that you can use for something else. Ethan, why don't you share with a little bit how you're using Zoom with your group? You had some great ideas the other night.
Sure. So I shared with Amanda and Matt briefly. I said I've been working with Paul for over a year, and it is awesome. So I definitely encourage everyone to continue to stay connected with Paul. He is the man on many levels. But he says the same thing about me sometimes, so that's just the way it goes. Ain't that right, Paul? So our youth group is much smaller. We haven't implemented the whole session of Sunday night. We average 45 to 50 students on a Sunday night service. But our church is very ahead of the curve when it comes to the online platform technology, staying with the program type deal. So we're already at online services for our church, for our kids ministry, for Celebrate Recovery, and a bunch of our stuff. And our youth platform is rolling out this Friday, a whole online service, which will be worship, devotion, some cool, crazy videos that some of the students made. So really what we've been using Zoom for primarily is I have a really great group of adult leaders who we connect with, whether it be with Paul or just with us. When we started, just everything I do, I really started with our adult leaders that help. And then we go to, we have a student leadership program. So we have some student leaders, which I'm sure all of y'all have some that, if you don't have any kind of student leader program or something, you have students that you've identified that are your guinea pigs that, they'll show up and you can test this kind of stuff with them and work it out. So our student leaders, since the coronavirus went crazy, we've met with them quite a few times now because we're doing our lessons and our worship and stuff like that on an online platform with the church. Really what we've used Zoom for is really just connecting with them so we can see them, so we can talk to them, so we can ask questions. Typically when we meet, it'll be anywhere from an hour to like, these kids will go on forever with a Zoom meeting, especially now when they have nothing to do. Literally, we're about to have a Zoom lock-in where basically the first one, whoever can stay awake the longest is the winner. It's going to be crazy. I'm not looking forward to it. Anyways, so what we've really been using it for is really connecting, sharing devotions. I'll ask questions. I'll tell you one of the things, Amanda and Cheyenne, how many students, if y'all guys were to roll this out, how many students do you envision having a meeting with? To where like Heather had like 100. I only have like 45 students in my youth group.
Yeah, so basically saying, look, how many kids do you think might participate? Just take your number of kids and say 10 out of the 15 might participate.
For us, it would be about 15.
Okay. Cheyenne, how about you? Oh, geez,
we're about the same, of probably about 15.
Cool.
Okay.
So that's right what we have pretty much with our student leaders. So that's 12 to 15 is what we've been meeting as. And so I'll just share like a couple games that we've done that like the students are like, we use Group Me as well for like communicating, just like text. Group Me is really awesome, really good app. And they're constantly like, hey, when are we doing Zoom again? When are we going to play these games again? Because I don't know if it's really they're just bored or we're just that awesome at coming up with fun games. So one of them that we've done, I'm sure all y'all on YouTube have done some type of eating challenge. There's always some type of food challenge, let's just be honest. So what I found that students really like to do, and this really works good in a small setting of like 12 to 15 students, is they want to give you a tour of their house or of their kitchen or anything. So really we'll do a challenge. So it'd be something along the lines of, all right, Paul and Cheyenne, y'all guys are going to battle it out. You're going to go to your fridge right now in your house. You're going to show us what it is. And everyone else, Heather, Amanda, myself, we're going to pick 3 items from your fridge that you have to mix together and you have to eat in front of us. So it's just like something really funny. They're all about it. So at first it was just mixing it. Then we did sandwiches, and now we're on to cereal. So they're going to pour whatever liquid they want, and we're going to tell them to put in, and they eat it. It's just funny. So that's one. The second one that's a really cool one is and Heather mentioned earlier, the scavenger hunt. Having them get up and leave and go do something really fast. Typically in church, we're telling them, don't run across the stage, don't climb over the chairs. This is your opportunity to tell them to do whatever they want because it's not your house. That's pretty cool. So we'll say, all right, you got 3 minutes. You need to create yourself to be a superhero. You need to make your costume. You need to gather whatever you can. You need to come up with your superhero name, your superhero costume, and your superpower. And then they all come back and they have to kind of share. So those are just like 2 that that we've kind of discussed and used that are really fun, really engaging. Really in this time, they have so many questions because this is something that even people that are 100 years old, or maybe 100 years old experience way back in the Great Depression. But really, no one's really experienced this. So they'll have a lot of questions, but this really gives them a chance after all those questions to really just kind of break loose so they're just not dwelling on all those crazy questions all night long. So that's just a couple of the games, because again, we haven't used it as much as for the teaching as we've used it as for really just being able to talk and tell them we love them and we miss them.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ethan and Heather, for sharing those great stories. Are you guys in the chat? Do you guys see the links that we've been sharing there? Heather shared a great link there. Heather, did you share that link, that other link from your friend? Is that the link from your friend that you did?
No, that's in my blog post, but I'll pop that in there.
Oh, okay. Well, if it's in the blog post, that's fine. They'll find it. Either way,
Okay.
you're good either way. But yeah. So any questions? We're gonna wrap up here. So I just want to make sure. Any questions, Cheyenne, Amanda? Anything that we missed?
So can we access these links after this ends also? Or?
No, I think once it ends, I think if you click on it now, it'll pop up somewhere on another screen. So, but yeah, I don't think those. You can save if you're the host. By the way, you have an option to save all your chat. So you can save that and it'll export it, and you can actually save your chat stuff. So you don't have to go back and hunt it down or anything like that. Okay.
One question.
So go ahead.
One
Heather.
question I had that I could not figure out was, if you don't register, can you get a list of everyone who joined your chat?
Yeah, if you don't have registration, that's a good question. Whether or not I have not tried that, so I don't know. Ethan, do you know anything about that? Do you know if there's no registration, do you know who was in your?
No, what I do every single time that everybody gets on, though if it's a really big group and they were to leave, I always take a screenshot, whether it's with my phone or if it's with my computer. I'll screenshot it all the time. Also, Paul, did you mention, I may have missed it, did you mention, you're recording this, that they can record, that way they can go back and?
Yep, I was just going to say that when I stop recording, it's going to tell me, do you want to save this up in the cloud or do you want to save this on your computer? I normally save it to my computer because I'll go back and either edit it or something like that. But it will give you audio and it will give you video. So if you need to share this with your pastor or something like that, if they need to see it or they want to see it and say, hey, look at our kids participating. Look at our kids showing up. You can do that. And it'll give you the option and it'll save all your meetings. That way, once you hit stop, just go ahead and export it, and it'll export it into an MP4 or into a WAV file, and then you can just either go back and listen to it, or you can go back and watch it if you want, and you can repost it if you want. So if you have a YouTube channel, you want to repost it so people can watch it later, you can do that. Cheyenne, anything?
So you mentioned that for the breakout session, that's only for the paid version. But I'm looking to use the free version, honestly. And with that, is there any other features that I won't be able to use besides the breakout sessions?
Hey, Paul, something to add too.
Yes.
Currently, with the crisis that we're in, Zoom has lifted the 40-minute restriction for free accounts.
Oh, good.
Just so y'all guys know, there's no way for you to lift it yourself. Just if you have a free account, if that's what you're using, when you get to the 40-minute mark, it'll literally just have a pop-up that's like, we've waived the 40-minute account, thank you, and that's it. So it'll just give you a notification. Because our church, we use Zoom for all of our small groups. We have about 50 different groups throughout our whole church that uses Zoom. So we stopped using, like everyone was using the church's account. Literally our church was like, look, you can do so much with the free version if you just want to do this for now. And Cheyenne, one of the things I just rolled out today to my adult leaders, if you have adult leaders that help you, or even if you have some very competent upperclassmen in high school that can lead Zoom themselves, it's not, you're not making disciples, you're making disciples who make disciples. So if you have other adults, I just told, I have 4 that do our small groups for high school boys, middle school boys, high school girls, middle school girls, and all 4 of them, I empower them. I said, hey, y'all set it up and y'all do your small groups throughout the week whenever y'all can. We'll still do our breakout groups like with our service, but I said, but if you just want to meet with your students, if they just want to meet with you, have at it. and just create your own account.
Before you guys leave, I will leave you guys with two things. One, this is an article from my podcast, which is 7 Ways to Keep Your Youth Ministry Connected During the Pandemic. And I go through that. So if you're interested in that. And then the other thing is, if you're interested in just having a free, if you're not on my email list yet, I send out newsletter, Youth Ministry Roundup, twice a month. And if you're not there yet and you would like a free Easter lesson, I want to make sure you guys get that, so I'll put that in here as well. And you can sign up for that, and you'll just get a couple emails me from a month just to share. I'll share. I don't know if anybody's on it already, but I give you videos. I give you those things. I'm going to put a thing in about Zoom games is going to be coming up as an article, things like that. So as I'll focus on this online meeting that we do, I'll have more articles and things like that that will be helpful to you guys moving forward. So. Is it? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's wonderful.
So I'm sorry, Sean. Say it again.
I said that's wonderful.
Is that wonderful? Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I just wanted to make you say that like several times, just so I can hear that you said that it was wonderful. But before we leave, guys, can I just have a word of prayer with you guys and pray for your youth ministries and pray for all the challenges that you may have. But I believe God's going to lead us forward. And you guys are going to have some amazing times and conversations online. So let's go ahead and pray. Father, thank you so much for this opportunity to meet with these youth leaders, God. I thank you for Heather, for Ethan coming to share their hearts. I thank you for Amanda and for Cheyenne, Lord, coming just to learn what this is about. And I'm so grateful, God, for youth workers like this who, Lord, who continue to push forward in the midst of adversity. They want to love their kids. They want to connect their kids with the Lord, and they want to connect them together to be the church. And so I pray that you'll empower them right now, God. I pray they will feel empowered to go forward, to start this. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be in place. You can mess it up, but God, I pray you'll give them all the wisdom they need, Lord, to have these successful times online where they can have these conversations, have some fun, decrease some of this stress that both families and students are having by connecting with them and showing them that through us, that the church is showing up. We're not sitting back. We're not waiting for things to pass by. We're simply activating, and we're going to do whatever we have to do for us to connect and to meet and to share and be the church together. So, Lord, we're grateful that your word says where two or more are gathered, there you are in the midst of them. And we're so glad, God, that none of that has to do with being in person, that, Lord, we can be two or more together, just like we are right now with your presence in our midst. So we're grateful. We're thankful. God bless them and keep them in all their ways. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much. Ethan and Heather, thank you again for coming and sharing your stories. Visit all their stuff. Visit Heather's article. She has a great blog, by the way.
I will say, Amanda and Cheyenne, I do lead a group of women in youth ministry. So go and find us on Facebook, and we'd love to have you.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks again. Thank you so much. I hope you didn't mind that we went a little bit over, but I appreciate you guys being here, and I know this will be a blessing to other youth workers as well. I will go ahead and end the meeting, and then I will go ahead and record this and post it up, and you guys will see it up on YouTube soon, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, you guys have a great night. Thank you again.
Nice meeting you all.